I was recently watching a Seinfeld episode, and I have to ask the question, who the heck likes muffin bottoms? I am all about muffin tops, and I genuinely believe anybody that likes muffin bottoms is either a reptilian or a potential psychopath. On a side note, muffins are getting extremely expensive. $6, $7, $8 for a muffin. It's essentially just bread with a handle. That's basically it. I don't understand the logic. But anyways, all jokes aside, in today's video, we're getting back into it. We're taking a look at some of the best custom Marvel Legends action figures out in the wild. And I should reiterate, even though I just put the Marvel Legends title in there, some of these are not technically Marvel Legends. I guess none of them are technically Marvel Legends because they're not officially released by Hasbro and they're not under the line. But some of the bucks or some of the body molds are not even from Hasbro. Some of these are Marvel Select or Mesco, or even some of these are DC Multiverse that are turned into Marvel action figures. I just use the Marvel Legends title because, you know, it's easier to type that in. As I always say, these are my favorite videos to put together, and if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure to stay tuned because we do upload pretty consistently on a weekly basis. Let me know down below if you guys have ran into any cool customs, or let me know down below which custom on today's list was your favorite. Without further ado, let's get straight into our first custom, and that is, well, I should say, I usually start off these videos by showcasing some custom accessories or weapons or things that can be ported onto your custom action figures or just your action figures in general. But in today's video, I thought we would switch it up a little bit. I'm going to showcase a couple of diorama sets that I ran into while shopping, and these look absolutely phenomenal. And let's keep in mind, we just got, for example, the Joker 2-pack accessory set that comes with, you know, some extras here and there. And yes, it does include 2 action figures, as well as like some chairs, a desk, and some, you know, some extra little accessories that complement the Dio piece extremely well. But keep in mind, you were paying roughly about $250. And then you had another great example of NECA just marking up their dioramas to astronomically high prices. And it's interesting because these are like manufacturers. They have factories, they have ways of mass producing most of these dioramas, and they're able to save money across the board because they purchase a lot of this stuff in bulk. So it just makes sense for their prices to be much lower than a fellow customizer or a fellow collector's price point. But in this particular case, both of these diorama sets are extremely affordable. The diorama warehouse set with everything included, I'm going to calculate a little bit of taxes. It's a rough estimate because depends on where you live. States have different ways of charging for taxes, but essentially you're paying about like $190 with shipping and everything included, which really isn't that bad. As I said, these diorama sets are way more intricate. They're way more detailed than anything that you can get from like a regular manufacturer. They play by certain rules, and the customizers can really get very creative and can offer other things that just can't be offered in like a normal retail setting. I also ran into the sewer diorama, which will run closer to that $300 mark, which is definitely way more than the warehouse set, but I'm going to assume that this one's a little bit more detailed. But both of them have some phenomenal accessories, great sculpt work, and then the paint job is just really well crafted and really well done for both of these style sets. As I said, one of them, the warehouse one, will run you roughly about like $2 something, and then the other one will be closer to about the $300 range. But as I said, both of them are pretty affordable for being from just normal customizers out in the community. Usually these can be pretty expensive, especially if you go to like toy shows or conventions. Usually there's quite a bit of a markup there. So if you guys are interested, these are definitely some very interesting dioramas. It's also worth mentioning that as of the moment of this recording, there were multiple of these available, which makes me believe that they're like maybe made to order, or maybe the seller has a few of these already manufactured, ready to go. So it's really cool from them to be able to make these at least at a consistent rate. It appears both listings have had some of these sold, and then it appears that they will definitely be selling a few more within the next few months. But enough of this saliva wasting. You guys came here for some custom Marvel Legends action figures. Not so much the Dio pieces, I mean, those are cool, but we're here for Marvel Legends customs. And the first one that I wanted to showcase to you guys was this custom Wolverine Marvel Legends action figure. And from what I can tell, they're essentially just switching out the arm, either with an old Marvel Legend body mold that maybe featured sleeveless arms or bare arms, or they custom painted the arms. I'm gonna lean more towards them actually replacing the arms. Obviously, it's way more screen accurate, and we've often had these type of head scratching situations where a manufacturer just doesn't have like the original costume or the original outfit for a particular movie. They're going off of concept art or maybe a poster that the original studio actually released to the manufacturer. I'm assuming they do this just for the sake of keeping any potential leaks under wrap. We see this a lot with a lot of manufacturers where maybe they release a particular action figure or a collectible way before they should have, and they tend to kind of spoil certain plot lines. And so I completely understand why Marvel Studios or Disney in general would hold back some of this information, but a lot of the time it leads to inaccurate representations in action figure form, and this is just a perfect example of that. Honestly, I think in most cases, if you're patient enough, you should be able to get like a screen accurate representation eventually. And so I feel like we're going to get an accurate Wolverine within the next like year or so from Hasbro. So if you're patient enough, you can wait it out. If not, you can pick up this particular custom Wolverine now. I will say he is quite expensive. He's closer to like the $180 range. Not sure why it's, you know, marked up by that much, but like I said, if you're really impatient, if you want a screen accurate MCU display, this is a perfect opportunity for you here. The next figure on today's video is definitely a tad bit simplistic, but not in a bad way. Essentially what they did here is they added a sort of they essentially repainted the figure, but it added a kind of like this glossy bright red effect to the entire figure, and it really displays incredibly well. It's supposed to be, I guess, accurate to some of the sequences or some of the scenes in the actual film. I'll be brutally honest with you guys, I kind of skimmed through this entire film, so I'm not sure if it's like 100% accurate to the source material, but it's really cool. It adds like a really nice, neat effect to the figure, and it really brings a lot of those like minor little details out. I've heard some great things when it comes down to this figure. I mean, when I first saw it, I was kind of skeptical. But at least from what I can remember, most of this figure, if not all of it, is brand new. So if you guys are interested in picking up the original one and trying this yourselves, or if you're too lazy and just want to purchase it outright, you can pick this figure up now for roughly about like $200. I will say, like I said, it's a little bit heavy-handed because the original retail price point for this particular figure was roughly about $40, if I'm not mistaken. So it seems a little bit heavy-handed to mark up the figure by that much, but I understand sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to prime the figure, to seal it, and to get it to look the way that you want it to. So again, if you guys are interested, you guys can pick up this particular version. Unlike the Wolverine, where I think we will be getting a more screen accurate version of that particular outfit, this one I think is essentially what it is. I don't think that Hasbro is going to be re-releasing this particular Carnage, at least in its current state. I think it will eventually get that body mold or those tendrils, or at least a version of this particular body for like a future deluxe Carnage that's based in the comic book universe. I think that's what we're going to see. There's no way they just utilize the body mold once and then just completely forget about it. So as I said, if you guys are interested, with shipping and with fees and taxes and everything, probably be paying somewhere along the lines of like $200. Next up, I ran into this Venomized Ghost Rider, or is this Venom as the Ghost Rider? I'm not 100% sure. I don't even know if this is based on like a very specific source material, whether it's comic book or animated, but I really like this. And the price is relatively affordable, especially considering there seems to be a lot of custom work put into this figure. That head sculpt maybe was like 3D printed somewhere, and they had to, put a lot of effort into it. So $175 with free shipping. Obviously, you're going to be paying a little bit closer to that $200 price point. But this one, I gravitated a little bit more towards because it does appear like there's way more work and effort put into it. rather than just like a really cheap and quick repaint, or just adding a quick little like paint effect to the figure. This definitely feels like much more of a custom. Now, I'm really bad at like pinpointing exactly what body mold this is. You know, sometimes they mix and match with particular body parts. Sometimes they'll add some certain limbs to like a particular buck, or switch out a head sculpt and things of that nature. So I'm very bad when it comes down to customs. I can't quite pinpoint the body mold, but I will say this looks absolutely brilliant. It's something unique. It's something intriguing that as a Marvel Legend collectors, we don't see as often. Usually, as I said prior, when it's like a quote-unquote custom figure, sometimes it's like a minor little repaint, or it's like they just switch out a head sculpt for a 3D printed version, and that's it. They just, you know, throw that up online for $200. This one at least feels like there was that effort, there was that sweat. As I said, if you're interested in fleshing out your Ghost Rider or your Venom display, this is a perfect figure to do that with. And then finally, for the last figure on today's video, we're looking at this beautiful custom Iceman action figure, which is supposed to be based on the Age of Apocalypse. And I mean, where to even start? I love the shade work here. I love the paint overall, but the sculpt work here really stands out. This figure is definitely going to draw attention in your display. Again, I'm a complete buffoon. I can't even pinpoint this particular body mold, but I'm assuming it's probably one of the older bucks because it has no butterfly joints and then just a single hinge at the ab, which is usually very telling. You can easily tell like, oh, it's an older tech. So it's probably like an older action figure, but that's irrelevant. I think they did a phenomenal job with this particular figure. And this is one of those where I don't really mind the price point because I can see the effort. I can see the sculpt work. I can see the paint, and that price point definitely makes way more sense for a figure like this. You are interested in this particular figure, you're definitely going to have some very deep pockets because you'll be paying close to about $300 for this figure. I will say this particular customizer is way more amicable because a lot of customizers, especially if you read the description for their eBay listings, they're just like fed up with humanity. They're like, hey, if you're going to purchase the figure, pay me right away. Don't complain about loose joints. Don't complain about anything. Just buy the damn figure and shut your big giant trap hole. Matter of fact, don't even breathe. Don't even inhale oxygen, okay? Just wither away and cease to exist, basically. I mean, sometimes they can be a little bit heavy-handed with their descriptions because, as I said, they're just done with people, but at the same time, I completely understand them because according to some of these descriptions, there are people constantly asking them for like tutorials, or they're asking them questions about how they put these figures together, but you can't do that, okay? They can't give away their secret ingredient. They'll, you know, lose their customers, they'll lose their fan base. So I completely understand they're probably frustrated about receiving the same questions over and over, but still these descriptions are incredibly fascinating. I love going through them and reading them. They're just always just very intriguing all around. Okay, anyways guys, there you guys have it. I don't want to draw the video out too long. There was a ton of great stuff, and you know, I really wanted to kind of include some custom accessories and weapons, but I feel like I've been kind of bombarding you guys with a lot of that, and it's kind of the same repetitive stuff over and over. We'll get like the same custom weaponry, or a lot of like the lower end custom weaponry is just like plastic resin. There's like no paint on it. It's usually just like a black or gray hunk of plastic, and so I kind of wanted to get away from that, and that's why I included the diorama sets in there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I try to keep it as short as I possibly can, which is nearly impossible for me because I tend to kind of ramble and just go on an insane rampage when it comes down to these figures. But I have to say, I genuinely enjoyed today's video. I love looking at customs. I love looking at these diorama pieces. I've actually thought about doing a video where I just talk about the best custom dioramas online, and maybe I'll circle around, or also circle back around and make a video about that. But for the time being, I just wanted to get a quick little custom video out to you guys. Let me know down below, would you guys purchase any of these? Do you plan on buying any customs in the foreseeable future? Which one was your favorite? Very curious to see what all of you guys have to say. Hopefully everybody is enjoying the holiday season. Let me know if you guys did any Christmas shopping for action figures, or if you guys plan on doing any for the New Year's. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, if you guys enjoy this type of rambling nonsense about action figures, we do this pretty consistently. We're up to like 4 to 5 times on a weekly basis. And so if you guys enjoy it, you guys, stick around. Just keep up to date, or, keep an eye on the channel. We do upload, as I said, every couple of days. As always, the most important part of this entire hobby is to enjoy it. Pose your action figures, take photographs, play with them, whatever it is that you like to do with your figures. Just enjoy them. That's the most important part. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.